And welcome into Arkansas Baseball Tonight, a post-game show that we are doing here on hitthatline.com, as well as ESPN 95.3 in the River Valley, ESPN 96.3 in the Southeast Arkansas area, and ESPN 104.3 up in the Harrison and North Arkansas area. And, of course, we are streaming live on hitthatline.com. You can also check out our Facebook Live at Hit That Line, our Periscope page, our YouTube page. Essentially, any way that we can make the message go out to all of you in reacting to Arkansas in the postseason, we are making that happen here on Arkansas Baseball Tonight. I am John Neighbors. I'm alongside Ty Richardson. And Phil Elson, the voice of the Arkansas Razorbacks, as well as co-host on Halftime with Ty, is going to be joining us here in just a little bit to recap the first victory of Arkansas in the postseason as they beat the Ole Miss Rebels 5-3 in their first game in SEC play. It was a nail-biter there for a little bit, really just kind of a back-and-forth game. Arkansas, though, gets the victory, and now we'll move on to play tomorrow at 4:30 to take on who? The Georgia Bulldogs, which, to me, if there was a matchup that Arkansas was going to have, you would want it against the Georgia Bulldogs because that was a team you did not play in the SEC regular season. They are a team that some say that they are on the bubble, maybe a little bit ahead of you as far as the national seed goes. And if you get the victory against Georgia, then maybe you can get a little bit of a higher seed. Maybe that's something that they'll take into consideration. But it'll be nice to know really where you stand and how it's all going to go for sure. And I'm excited about it, and it was a good way to start postseason play. And do we have Phil? Is it Phil? Phil Elson, voice of the Arkansas Razorbacks, joins us right fresh off the IMG broadcast. And Phil, appreciate you hopping on with us. I know that anytime you get a victory, if you're a Razorback fan, it's always a great one. But this was honestly a really hard-fought game by Arkansas. Made the big plays when they mattered the most. And I mean, this is just a grind-em-out game, and this is how the SEC tournament's always going to be, man.
Yeah, I think "grinded out" describes it pretty well, John. It was tight for a while there, and I gotta apologize to you because they're about to do the national anthem ahead of the Vanderbilt Auburn ball game. So I don't want to talk during the anthem. Just give me about 60 seconds or so. I'll be right back with you. Okay?
Hey, we all respect that, my man. So there's no problem there. So yeah, we'll get back with you. But either way, Arkansas moving on. We always talked about this during the morning rush and just what Arkansas needs to do, what they should do, how they should do it, how should they treat postseason play, how should Dave Van Horn treat postseason play. And honestly, the last thing you wanted to do is go 0-2 in barbecue and then have a 4-game losing streak, essentially because you lost the final 2 games to Texas A&M to end the regular season. The last thing you wanted to do is have 4 straight losses heading right into your own regional. That's not something you want to have. That's not any type of momentum that you want to bring. So Arkansas doesn't have to worry about that by getting the victory 5-3 over Ole Miss. I mean, there were a few players that really stood out, and there was a few players that honestly struggled pretty mightily. I mean, Heston Kjerstad, that was not a great performance by him, not his best game today. He went 0 for 4 in today's game, as well as Jack Kinley. Also, he went 1 for 4, but his 1 for 4 was a really big hit that ended up getting the Arkansas 2-run, or giving them 2 runs to give them the 1-run lead, and they never relinquished the lead after that. Trevor Ezell goes 1 for 4. Matt Goodart goes 1 for 4. And, honestly, as much as the hitting was important, obviously, I'm telling you what, Washington and his base running, that to me was impressive. Curtis Washington and the way he was able to not only get to third base by just the skin of his nose, but then to make it home there on the bunt play where the first baseman for Ole Miss held up, delayed a little bit, tried to go home, hesitated just 1 split second too long, and then it came right back home, and it ended up getting the scoring run there. So there was just a lot of very close calls, very close plays that Arkansas needed to have in this game. We got Phil Elson now back with us. And Phil, just as we were discussing, I mean, you needed every single big play you possibly could if you were Arkansas.
Yeah, I thought you mentioned Jack Kinley. He came up big today, and he was my choice for the star of the game, and it was because of 3 things. One, I mean, a great play at second base in the 3rd inning, charging a slow grounder hit by Tyler Keenan with a runner at third base. You don't make the play, a run scores, and he keeps them off the scoreboard with that play. And then what's been lacking from this Arkansas lineup of late is just the clutch, 2-out RBI base hit. 2-out hitting is such an important piece of baseball, and that's one thing Arkansas had been pretty good at until of late. And Kenley came through with that 2-run single in the 6th inning. I mean that's obvious right there because that's where you take the lead from a down 3-2 to leading 4-3. Didn't try to do too much with it. He did exactly what Dave Van Horn has talked about. He wants his hitters to do: stay through the middle of the field, don't try to pull everything, don't look for home runs, line it in the left center, and then maybe, I don't say this as more important, but just to see in the 8th inning, you just mentioned how Washington, with that great base running, scores in the 8th inning, but he wouldn't have scored if you don't make contact, and it was Kenley that made contact. I mean, he didn't hit the ball hard. He didn't hit it really any place that made it a tough play, but he when you put the ball in play, things can happen. That's where the base running, that's where the coaching decision by Dave Van Horn to take out a runner in Matt Goodhart, who, while he is fast, doesn't have the best base running instincts, and going with a guy in Curtis Washington who has been your number 1 pinch runner this year, and his instincts paid dividends because his dirt ball read gets him from second to third, turned out to be a very close play at third base, and then his quickness. Baseball's a quick twitch muscle sport. His quickness and his ability to close fast on home plate and make a great creative slide on the contact that Kenley made, that was huge. I mean, so these 3 runs were the difference in the baseball game. So I think Jack Kenley came up just giant in this ball game, as he has all season long. Out of all the players that are newcomers to the team this year, Kenley's not a newcomer. It's his 3rd year with the team, but he's virtually a newcomer because he didn't start very much over the first 2 years. 80% of Kenley's base hits in his career have come this season. 70% of his at-bats have come this year. 100% of his 12 career homers have come this year. So, I mean, he's really turned himself into... Maybe he was this kind of ball player the last 2 years, but, he added 15 pounds of muscle. He's playing a different position than he's played mostly, second base. I think he's made himself available now for the Major League Baseball draft, which is in a couple of weeks, and this is a draft year for him. So I continue to be impressed with Jack Kenley in today's game. Really, really.
Needed to do. You had Kops come in as well as Scroggins. Costi shot got a little bit of action, but then Cronin just mowed him down there at the end.
Yeah.
What do you think of the decisions and also the pitching performance by Dave Van Horn's guys today?
Well, I think he utilized the bullpen very much the same way that you'd look to in a regional. Although I think there might not be that many games where you have Kops, Scroggins, Kostichuk, and Cronin all pitching in the same game. Mm-hmm. But he didn't ask any of them to be overworked. Kops is a guy that can go out and give you 4 innings if you need it. They were only asking him to deliver 2 innings today. Cody Scroggins, 1 inning. That leaves him available for tomorrow. Jacob Kostichuk faces 4 batters and threw only, what do I have him at here, 13 pitches. Cronin, 15 pitches. So, I mean, any one of those guys could come out and pitch tomorrow. And the best part about what we saw out of the bullpen today was Matt Cronin being Matt Cronin. I mean, he blew away some really good hitters. He struck out all 4 batters. The first batter he faced, Chase Cockrell, has had a miserable year. But after that, in the 9th inning, Thomas Dillard, one of the best hitters in the SEC, power-wise, also works the count. Cronin did not allow him to work the count. He just pumped in strikes, struck him out. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Gray Kessinger, one of the better hitters in the league, I think he was hitting over 400 in SEC competition this year. Struck him out. And then strikes out Tyler Keenan, who's their leading home run hitter. And he did it with fastballs, and he threw back-to-back curveballs at one time. So I think that seeing Matt Cronin pitch maybe the best he's looked this year also is huge.
All right, we'll let you get out of here on this, Phil. Arkansas advancing to tomorrow. They're going to take on the Georgia Bulldogs, a team they have not faced this year, but also a team that seems to be pretty even as far as where the national seed race is coming into play. What do you make of this matchup tomorrow?
Tomorrow is almost like you feel the outcome doesn't really matter very much for either of these teams because their resumes are made, John. I mean, Georgia won 21 conference games, 42 regular season games. They won 13 games against top 25 teams. That's a national seed. For Arkansas, it's the same thing. I felt like the win at Texas A&M last week, the one win there, pretty much cinched it. A win today, virtually, it guarantees. I mean, Arkansas is a top 8 seed. So tomorrow's game doesn't have anything to do about being a top 8 seed. Maybe it has a little bit to do with, if Georgia and Arkansas are lined up side by side by the selection committee next Monday, maybe you take the winner of the game and put it in front of the others. I don't know. But for me, it's just about seeing two of the best teams in the country going at each other, and it could be a preview of what you see in Omaha. 3 teams out of the SEC made it last year. We've seen sometimes 4 teams out of the SEC make it. I think you're going to have 4 national seeds from this conference. So it just happens to be 2 of them face off against each other tomorrow. I think it's going to be a great baseball game. I think Arkansas might have a little bit of an edge as far as starting pitching is concerned, because they will throw Isaiah Campbell.
Right.
And we don't know who Georgia will pitch, but we know it won't be Emerson Hancock, who's been their ace. I expect they'll throw Tony Losey, who did win 10 games and had an ERA in the mid-2s, but just didn't quite have the numbers Emerson Hancock had. But then another interesting thing about it will be, how do the head coaches, do they limit the number of pitches that they let these guys throw? And Dave has said, usually Isaiah throws about 100, probably won't go any more than 80 tomorrow. I would think that could be the same with Tony Losey, because both of these teams are secure in where they sit. So next week matters a whole lot more than this week. So another thing to look at would be, especially because Kopp, Scroggins, Kosishak, and Cronin all pitched today, which of the youngsters will get an opportunity to show what they can do against a really good Georgia lineup? 2 years ago, we didn't know anything about Matt Cronin, except that he was from Florida and threw hard. But he barely pitched in 2017 until Hoover. They used him a couple of times in Hoover, and it was like eye-popping stuff. Then the next week they use him in the regional a couple of times, and then last year he's the closer, and he is this year too. So you didn't expect that coming into Hoover in 2017. There might be a couple of pitchers that you see tomorrow that haven't had many opportunities to flash their stuff. I'm thinking guys like Elijah Trest or Jacob Burton. Any one of these 2 kids in the next 2 years could come up huge in the bullpen. They could come up huge in the postseason this year, and I think both of them might get a chance tomorrow.
Well, it should be a great matchup between these 2 teams tomorrow. Again, his first pitch supposedly maybe will be around 4:30. We'll see how the games go tomorrow. But Phil Elson, voice of the Arkansas Razorback baseball team and co-host of Halftime here on Hit That Line Network. Appreciate you hopping on with us, Phil. Have a great call tomorrow, man, and we'll catch up with you, all right?
Of course, John. Always a pleasure, man. And hey, by the way,
yeah,
as I keep calling Matt Cronin the fire-breathing dragon, you are my brother in Game of Thrones, right? So he's the fire-breathing dragon, not the ice-breathing fire dragon.
Oh yeah, so even better. And we'll delete that 8th season and just have seasons 1 through 7 here, and hopefully he's that dragon from the first few seasons too.
Well, he's the only one left. He'd be Drogon, right?
Yeah, that's
I guess
true.
I should start calling him Drogon.
And there you go. It'd be a great nickname, man. Appreciate you hopping on, buddy.
You got it, John. Take care.
I appreciate it, man. 877-377-6963 is the number to call in here on Arkansas Baseball tonight, taking all your reactions. We'll get to that and a lot more on the other side of the break. Stay with us, folks.
This is Arkansas Baseball Tonight.
Or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores to everyone for free, even if you're not a customer. And checking your score won't hurt your credit. We call it the Discover Credit Scorecard. And once you know your score, you should check to see if your current credit card is the best fit for you. Check your credit, Compare your card. Go to discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
It's our biggest celebration ever, the 25th anniversary of Ron's Lumber and Home Center. 2 days only, Friday and Saturday, May 24th and 25th. Many items 25% off. On Saturday, 25% off everything that fits in a 5-gallon bucket. Friday, giveaways every hour. Saturday, every half hour with hours extended until 4 p.m. You could win $2,500 in store credit and someone will win a portable building. 2 days only, Friday and Saturday, May 24th and 25th. Ron's Lumber and Home Center in Howell, Oklahoma.
Getting knocked down on the football field makes you tough, but getting back up makes you tougher. At Goodyear, we call that determination. A willingness to put in more hours, more reps, and more heart to reach a bar that's sky high. Because the Goodyear blimp doesn't show up for just anybody. So don't be just anybody. Be blimp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
Hey Dave, what's with the dry erase board?
We've got so much to do before we open for the day, so I'm diagramming our game plan.
You just wrote help me and X's and arrows.
I know. We need help.
Here's a plan. Call Cintas. They'll check our fire extinguishers, stock our first aid cabinets, they'll take care of our floor mats and restroom supplies, and of course, deliver great looking uniforms.
Call Cintas. Great plan.
Oh, I'm ready!
Learn how Cintas can help you get ready for the workday. Visit Cintas.com.
Gold, did you know that Gatorade Zero has all the same electrolytes but with zero sugar?
I did know that because I drank some Gatorade Zero after I ran 2 miles at the gym this morning.
2? Please, I ran 3.
Did I mention I also was on a 6 incline?
You didn't, but that's interesting because that's 2 less than I was on.
Were you also running backwards? Because I was.
No.
Gatorade Zero, all the electrolytes with zero sugar, so you can get more out of zero.
Introducing Wrangler Outdoor. Pants and shirts that keep you dry and comfortable in all conditions. Featuring quick-drying, water-repellent fabric and UPF protection, Wrangler Outdoor ensures you're ready for wherever the day takes you, whether it's a walk in the city or a trek in the wilderness. Wrangler Outdoor, clothing with everyday versatility and outdoor credibility.
You're listening to Arkansas Baseball Tonight on ESPN 95.3.
Welcome back into Arkansas Baseball Tonight. Appreciate everybody listening in today as Arkansas again gets the victory over the Ole Miss Rebels by a final score of 5-3, and we are recapping it all right here. And again, just a reminder, if you're listening here on ESPN 95.3, 96.3, or 104.3, you can also check it out on our Periscope, our Facebook Live, YouTube page, whatever it is. However, basically, the morning rush is going, you can probably listen to it on that way. So be sure to check it out as we're going to continue to recap the game. And again, we just had Phil Elson on, and he was discussing a little bit about Arkansas and the way that they played in this game and what's just kind of expected of them and how that they can go into this Georgia game. The fact that Isaiah Campbell is going to be pitching tomorrow, I think I'm not saying it's a bad decision or anything like that, but it's going to be fascinating to see, since he's been so great this year, and to see how he reacts and the fact that he hasn't been named any All-SEC team. Is that going to come into play? Is that going to be some motivational factor? How's he going to respond? And especially going up against a team like Georgia, where they're kind of right there with you. They're right now a national seed by most pundits, and some people have them as a 5 seed and you as a 6 seed, or you as a 5 seed, them as a 6 seed. Who knows how the committee is actually going to do it? But if Isaiah Campbell can go in and just mow down Georgia and Arkansas get the victory to head into, a bye day there on Friday and then have the semifinals on Saturday, that could really bode well for them if they're trying to step up and maybe take over, just move up 1 seed or so. I don't think they're going to move up any further than 1 seed, but it could be big for them if they're just able to get a victory against Georgia and kind of showcase what they got, especially if you're Isaiah Campbell.
And the committee's only comparison that you could look at head-to-head would be this game tomorrow. And I don't know, I know Phil mentioned it, but I don't know the caliber of pitcher Georgia has on the mound tomorrow. But for Isaiah Campbell, as you mentioned, we had Dominic Fletcher on this week, and he said that Isaiah is probably not going to be bothered by being snubbed by the All-SEC selection, but even the guys that don't crave attention, if they felt like they were deserving of an award, even if they're not going to come out and save it, they're going to use that for motivation in tomorrow's game. So you have the opportunity to show the committee, not only for Isaiah Campbell to show the SEC coaches who didn't put him on the first and second team, but also the selection committee to show that Arkansas is a better team than Georgia. And while they might not inch into that top 4 seed, they can at least show them they deserve to be put ahead of Georgia when it comes to the national seeds.
Well, yeah, and that's what it's going to come down to. Is it's just going to be about, okay, so what can they do to elevate their spot and elevate their position? Because I think we are all fully and in total agreement that Arkansas, especially after today's victory, is a national seed. I think we're all at that point. It's might as well be safe, sound, and secure right now. And so they will be hosting a regional, and if they get past that regional, hosting a super regional as well, which was the goal of the regular season. But now it becomes, okay, so what's the goal here? Where do you go from here for the rest of Hoover? Because Isaiah Campbell is your ace, and tomorrow I sincerely doubt that Dave Van Horn's going to try to get 6-7 innings out of Isaiah Campbell, unless he's just going out there throwing a no-hitter. I don't think that's going to be the case. You want to make sure that you save as much as you can and as much as possible when it comes to those guys.
They said 80 pitches is what.
Yeah,
Isaiah's
80 pitch.
Yeah,
So by limiting it to that much, I think that that's exactly what Dave Van Horn needs to do with Isaiah Campbell. But say if Isaiah Campbell comes out after that 80 pitch or whatever, you got a 1-run lead. Who are you going to look to kind of come in? I mean, are you going to throw some of your better arms? Are you going to try to get out of there with that big victory? Or say if you're down in the game, if you're trailing by 1 run, how do you play it there as well, knowing what's on the line and knowing what's going to happen? See, that's the most fascinating thing about all of this is just how you know that Dave Van Horn, who's been here before, he's been in postseason play, but he also knows he has a few pitchers to work with. And, if you look at the stats today, he threw five pitchers. I mean, Wicklander threw 4.1 innings. Then he had Cops come in 1.2. You had Scroggins with throwing 1 inning. Kostichuk, I mean, it's funny because I didn't even remember pitching. Like, it was just so quick. He only threw 13 pitches, and then Cronin comes in and just mows them down. You obviously have options there. So it becomes, what do you want out of Campbell tomorrow? I mean, I think it's just get the same Isaiah Campbell you've been getting all season long. Go down there, mow him down, get off to a really good start, let the offense breathe a little bit, and be home for dinner. Because Arkansas's offense has played really well for the most part, but I will say, though, that those final 2 games against Texas A&M where they only scored 1 run or 2 runs and 1 run respectively in those games, it did kind of start making you wonder, okay, how is the offense going to respond here in Hoover in the SEC tournament? Well, they scored 5 runs today, but they were hard-fought runs. I mean, they were not just runs where they were going like they were against some other teams in the SEC play this year where they were just cranking them out of the ballpark right and left. I mean, a lot of these runs, like the runs from Curtis Washington, the hit from Jack Kinley, I mean, those were ones that they were having to fight tooth and nail for, which is fine because that's what you need to do against good teams, especially SEC competition. But it makes me wonder what Georgia's going to do. How are they going to approach the pitching? And if Arkansas can get back to having the hot bats that they've had in other SEC games, Georgia may be in for a long day with Isaiah Campbell pitching.
If you look at Arkansas stats, the home run, the fact that they were able to win this game despite not having a single one, I don't know how many times they've done that this season, and they kind of came on towards the end because at one point this team was getting a lot of extra base hits, doubles, and even some triples, but then kind of towards the end of the season, they started hitting the lawn ball like they were last year, and at one point in time, they were only 3 home runs away from the same home run amount. Like there was like 78 to 75 at one point in the season. I was like a week or 2 ago. I was talking to Phil about it. But you like that this team was able to beat a quality Ole Miss opponent despite not hitting bombs today. And that's something I talked to Phil about because the first game in the Texas A&M series, you struck out 18 times. It's a pretty phenomenal stat. You still dominate that game. And then games 1 or 2 and 3, you really couldn't get anything going. And so that makes you question if their home run, if that doesn't work in postseason play, how lethal they're going to be from an offensive standpoint. But they showed today at least flashes that they can still get a win despite not having the long ball at their backs.
Yeah, it's going to come down to that. So, but it's at this point in time, it's just about getting victories. It's not always going to be pretty. In fact, even Dave Van Horn said in his post-game press conference there down in Hoover that this was not a clean game. I mean, this is not a game where Arkansas just played really well and they got the victory against Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss gave them all they had, but you think about some of the missed opportunities and some of the plays that were made or that should have been made that weren't. Like, it does make you kind of get nervous with Casey Martin and some of these errant throws that he has made. I mean, he had one there where it was just a routine grounder to him, routine throw to first base, and I mean, it went flying over Ezel. And it's just, those are the types of plays where it's like, it's one thing if you just have a hard-fought battle, but it's another thing if you start having these errors and these mental mistakes that could really end up costing you in some big games that you got to get shored up.
You know, when you're watching a basketball player miss like a wide-open layup and then he hits like a backstep three or fadeaway, and you're just like, how do you make that, but you miss that? It's kind of weird sometimes with Casey Martin where it looks like it's a routine double play or a routine throw to first, and he doesn't make that, and then he makes a couple plays later or a game later, he'll make just this incredible stop and throw over, and it's puzzling sometimes. And his hitting's been there, and you hope that he doesn't swing and chase strikes but balls at times he has this season. But I think that's one of the biggest reasons the coaches left him off the first team is because he hasn't been as consistent fielding the ball as he has been hitting this year.
Yeah, and he's got to get that shored up, and those are the issues that they have to get shored up in the postseason play. But knowing this team, knowing Dave Van Horn, it didn't affect him today, but could it affect him tomorrow? Time will tell. 877-377-6963 is the number to call in, getting all of your reactions here on Arkansas Tonight post-game show that we will be doing all postseason long. So be sure to check it out, not only in the SEC tournament, but in the regionals and Lord willing in the Super Regionals and, of course, in the College World Series at Omaha. But we'll continue our discussions and our reactions of Arkansas's victory over Ole Miss today on the other side of the break. Stay with us, folks. More of it coming up.
This is Arkansas Baseball Tonight, presented by Southern Tire Mart. Come see them today, just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith.
When weather hits, the right wiper blades make all the difference. That's when the Michelin Man is on your side, helping you see better and drive safer with new Michelin Premium Wiper Blades. Designed with exclusive SmartFlex technology or frameless beam design, Michelin blades flex to the curve of your windshield, giving you unparalleled, streak-free, long-lasting, all-season performance. So when the going gets tough, be ready with Michelin Premium Wiper Blades. It's a difference you can see. Available at Walmart and other fine retailers.
The new Harry Robinson Salisal Ford has a bigger selection with over 200 vehicles in stock, personal service from a staff that is ready to work with you, and an all-new service department that's friendly and will fix your car right the first time. This is our promise to you at the new Harry Robinson Salisal Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisal, Oklahoma.
Harry Robinson Salisal Ford.
It's our biggest celebration ever, the 25th anniversary of Ron's Lumber and Home Center. 2 days only, Friday and Saturday, May 24th and 25th. Many items 25% off. On Saturday, 25% off everything that fits in a 5-gallon bucket. Friday, giveaways every hour. Saturday, every half hour with hours extended until 4 p.m. You could win $2,500 in store credit and someone will win a portable building. 2 days only, Friday and Saturday, May 24th and 25th. Ron's Lumber and Home Center in Howell, Oklahoma.
Hey, this is Scott from Calico County, and it's time for some springtime specials. First, it's our chicken breast salads. Fresh salad fixins, including our own croutons, topped with juicy chunks of chicken prepared the way you like it. Fried, grilled, blackened, or even buffalo style. All served with a salad dressing we make in-house as well. Or your second choice is those same chunks of chicken wrapped in a warm tortilla to make a delicious wrap. Of course, both come with one of our cinnamon rolls. So whether it be breakfast, lunch, dinner, or catering, we're Calico County, just off Rogers Avenue behind Randall Ford.
FMLA, FLSA, ACA.
It's harder than ever for businesses to keep up with today's evolving alphabet soup of regulations. What's a company to do? Kronos. With Kronos, you can minimize compliance risk and track HR policies, making sure they are applied consistently and fairly. HR, payroll, talent, and timekeeping in one unified system, all with a proven implementation approach and simplified, transparent pricing. Learn more at kronos.com/compliance. Kronos, workforce innovation that works.
Always get more at Or.
The
Memorial Day sale is going on today at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith. That means food and fun, plus huge factory incentives and big dealer discounts, like $10,000 off new body style 2019 Chevy Silverados, $14,000 off all remaining new 2018 Chevy Silverados, 0% financing for 72 months on all new Chevy Tahoes and Suburbans, $5,000 off new Chevy Malibus, and $4,000 off new Chevy Traverse SUVs. Plus, come by Saturday, May 25th or Monday the 27th for free hot dogs and hamburgers. But we're not done giving you more. Included with any new vehicle sold, or Chevy will also give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So come get a lower price and more money for your trade during the Memorial Day sale, happening today at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith, because
you always get more at Orr.
Guess how many Americans are unhappy employees? More than half. Maybe they're like Michael, who was going nowhere, working for peanuts as a utility company security guard. Then Michael went to My Computer Career and ditched that rent-a-cop whistle for an IT career in less than 6 months. So if you're unhappy, go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Classes meet just twice a week on campus or live online. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
You're listening to Arkansas Baseball Tonight on ESPN 95.3.
Welcome back into Arkansas Baseball Tonight. John Neighbors, Ty Richardson in studio with you today, bringing it today. And again, reacting to Arkansas's victory over Ole Miss, 5-3. Advancing into the SEC tournament, we'll take on the Georgia Bulldogs tomorrow around 4:30. We'll see if it actually gets played because they have a few games that they got to take care of first. As I guess Ole Miss and Texas A&M will face off against each other in the losers bracket. That game will be played at 9:30 tomorrow morning. And then the other games that we are waiting on, of course, today still needs Vanderbilt and Auburn. That game will be played here very shortly. In fact, it may have already started already because I know the schedule's kind of messed up. It was supposed to start at 4:30, but we'll see if they actually did that. But that game's going on today. And then, of course, the late one tonight, Mississippi State and LSU will be going as well. So it definitely has a full slate of games. And once again, a reminder, if Arkansas wins tomorrow, they will not play on Friday as they will have the bye day, and then they will play in the semifinals on Saturday, which then becomes single elimination. So Arkansas could go 2-1 in this tournament and be out of it, which I think some people, at least some of you that have tweeted at us this morning or this afternoon, have said that you would not mind if that ended up happening. You would not mind if they ended up winning tomorrow and then kind of get that confidence, get that good feelings, performed well, but then just lose that game, get out of there home for dinner, and get everybody rested up.
And I think one of the reasons people think that is because what happened in 2017, even though I don't point the 2017 team knocking down the regional because of them making all the way to the college, not the College World Series final, but the SEC final and losing LSU. I think it was more of the fact that the following year's team was just more talented. Like 28's team with Casey Martin, with Heston Kjerstad, with the guys a year more, with Blaine Knight coming back, Shaddy coming back, all those guys coming back. They're just more talented. But people point that victory or that point them getting to LSU in the SEC championship and losing, and then they see that losing in the regional and they say, oh, we don't want to do that. So as long as you don't change up your pitching rotation to where it hurts the bullpen, it hurts the Phil, because I asked Phil blatantly, I was like, do they need to lose this week? Like, do they need to just give up and or not give up, but just let it go? And he's like, no, because you don't want to have be in a bad rhythm heading into the regional. Last thing you want is to go 0-2, be 0-4 in your last 4 games, and then head in the regional. That's not good for confidence. That's not good for morale, John.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it comes down to is what is good, like what is good for your team.
What you're saying, I think what you said, what you've set up, you win tomorrow, you beat a quality Georgia team to show the NCAA committee that, hey, neutral site field, mano-a-mano, we're better in this club. And then you lose that game on Saturday. I think that's a pretty good solution rather than win that game on Saturday and go to the SEC championship. But again, Dave's not going to tell his guys anything but we're going out to win this game and these games.
Yeah, that's not in Dave Van Horn's nature to come out and say something like that, and nor should he. I mean, that's just the way it needs to be. But I like the position that they're in. I was of the mindset that Arkansas needed to win today. Like, you did not want to go 0-1 heading into the losers bracket tomorrow, which then, guess who you would have faced? Texas A&M. Not to say that you would have lost to them again. Maybe you could have gotten some revenge back on them. But if you lost it I'm curious that if Arkansas would have lost today to Ole Miss and then they would have faced Texas A&M tomorrow, would Dave Van Horn still have thrown out Isaiah Campbell?
The regionals next week, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but you either get, is it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Because I know the Supers, it includes Monday, but I don't know about the regional wise.
Well, because the Super, and this is funny, but the Supers only include Monday. If Arkansas is the 1 seed and they go 3-0, it's over, right? It doesn't go until Monday, right?
2-0. Are we talking about regionals?
I'm talking about regionals.
Yeah, they would have to lose, and then someone would have to beat Arkansas again.
Right. But if Arkansas goes 3-0, though, if they win, then it's over and there's no Monday game, correct? In the regionals.
I believe that's right.
Okay. And then in the super regionals, we're just on the fly here. Yeah. And then in super regionals, of course, it becomes best of 3.
Yeah, they have, for whatever reason, it's set. I don't know why they don't do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but for whatever reason, they have Monday on the schedule for that.
Yeah.
So
either way, it's like Arkansas, you're going to have to, you know that you have to take care of business. You've been here before. It's not like it's going to be some type of crazy, mind-blowing experience of like, oh my goodness, we don't know what to do. We don't know how this works. I mean, Dave Van Horn's been there. This team has been there. Everybody's been here. And it's going to be fine, and it's going to work out for the best for everybody involved. And that's the most important thing. But, looking at this matchup tomorrow against Georgia, it's like if it was somebody else Arkansas had already played, like say if they were facing off against Mississippi State or Auburn or even LSU or something like that, you would want to win. And just in the same case of you would want to win against any other SEC team. But I feel like because you're facing a team you have not faced yet this year, and it's a team that's right neck and neck with you as far as RPI and where you kind of side in the whole, not only in the SEC tournament, but in the grand scheme of things with the NCAA and all of college baseball. To me, it's like this is more of a motivation that you kind of want to win because you can kind of make a statement, especially throwing your ace out there, Isaiah Campbell. He's going to be your guy. If you can go out there and have this big statement game against Georgia and show that, yeah, we didn't play y'all, but in the time we did, assuming that they throw one of their best guys out there too, and we threw our best guy, we got the best of you. Confidence-wise, I don't know if that'll do anything for you, but I think for the fan perspective, though, it'll really be something that they can pump their fist to and say, yes, because you beat a team that you haven't beaten before this season, and it's a team that is kind of considered to be right there with you. And there's really no way to say, okay, which team's better, who holds a tiebreaker, if you will. But by beating them on the field, some of your best pitching out there, that might do the trick.
Yeah, and if you're the NCAA selection committee, and I pointed out this earlier, that's the only competition that these two teams have faced this year. And it's on a neutral site, so it's not in Fayetteville, and it's not in Athens, so they can't say, oh, well, they lost at home or they lost on the road. It's in the SEC tournament. It's Hoover. Even, I mean, if you wanted to go distant-wise, I would say, I don't know this for a fact, but I think Athens is a little bit closer to Hoover than Arkansas and than Fayetteville is. But I just think that they have to look at that and say, if Arkansas were to win it, I feel like that they would put them ahead. And I don't know all the metrics, the RPI, and I'd have to stack them up side by side. But just based on that game, that single most game, I feel like that they would have to put Arkansas ahead of Georgia when it comes to the NCAA selection stuff. And it's not, like you said, they're not probably going to inch in that top 4 spot. But if you can get a 5 over a 6 or a 6 over a 7, whatever these teams end up, that's still better than what it would have been if you would end up losing to Georgia tomorrow.
Yeah, and because it's about what can you do to help your stock, not what can you do for, because the whole thing of like building confidence or building momentum, I think that there's something to be said for that. But this is Arkansas baseball, for crying out loud. This is a team that's been just dominant all season long and has been a top 10 team virtually the entire season. I mean, they have confidence. Confidence is not something that's missing from this team. This whole momentum thing is not something missing. You have experienced guys who have been in the most clutch moments and the most pressurized moments in all of college baseball before. I don't see any reason of why they can't be one of those teams again that just goes back because off of that experience. It's like, people say act like you've been there before. This team has been there before. And I don't think the small things of like, how can we do here as far as the pressure points? Do we need to get some momentum? Do we need to get some good play here? I don't think that's necessarily a factor in this team's mindset because this is just another day at the office for them.
Well, you say that for the players that were on the team last year.
Correct.
For guys
correct.
like Curtis Washington, who made a play today, Christian Franklin. The pitchers are probably the two you got to worry about with Patrick Wicklander, which I think after today, you're a little more confident than where you were after the Texas A&M series, but you're not still 100% sold on him. And you're not 100% sold on Nolan either, just based on the fact that he is a freshman. So I think there's still a lot of value in this tournament just moving on because it only is going to – the pressures, it's not going to slow down. It's only going to keep expanding because you go from this to a regional next week in Baum. You win that. You go to a super, and you win that, it gets to Omaha. It's boiling over to a certain extent. And again, you mentioned the guys that have been there. Heston Kerstad, Dominique Fletcher, Casey Martin, the core trio that's been there, that was there last year, and then the other guys that are back. Jack Kinley didn't play as much as he has this season. He's really come on. He had a great game today. I think they had him on as the Domino's player of the game or whatever, but you want these guys, the younger guys, the ones that were on the team last year and didn't get as much playing time, and the freshmen, the guys that I mentioned, and there's some others as well, to get as much experience as possible because, again, it's only going to get more difficult from here. It's not going to get any easier. And you hear that adage all the time when it comes to postseason in any sport possible, but it's true, John.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the guys who haven't been there before. It would be a nice little thing for them to kind of hang that hat on it, but at the end of the day, it's about making sure that your guys are completely ready for postseason mode. Because it was even brought up when Phil Elson joined us about Matt Cronin. Like at the end of the game today, he just destroyed people. I mean, he was mowing them down like there was nobody's business. It was as impressive as a relief pitching outing you've seen all conference long. And in fact, even the guys on the broadcast on the SEC network said that's about as impressive as I've ever seen. And what you're hoping is like, hey, that's postseason mode for Matt Cronin. Because when was he brought in last year? When did he really start making a name for himself? Down in Hoover in postseason play, and he was big there in regionals and super regionals as well.
Yeah, 2 years ago, you didn't know much about this kid, and Bubba and Phil alluded to it on the broadcast, and they played him a little bit, and they realized, man, you're actually kind of getting something with this kid. And then he's kind of emerged as the closer now, had the, I think, all-time something saves last year. I have to run that by Phil. But it was funny on the broadcast when he threw a breaking ball and it just whizzed by an Ole Miss guy, and Bubba and Phil almost fell out of their chairs because they were like, that's the best breaking ball he's thrown all year. You never really questioned his fastball because of the spin and how it dips up. It's incredible to watch, and this is coming from a guy that doesn't dive into baseball all the time, but
right.
Phil always talks to me about it. But if he can get these other pitches going on top of his fire-breathing fastball, as Phil likes to refer to it as, that's going to be fun, and you're not going to give up home runs like he has at certain times this season, because if he's got other pitches, it's going to be hard to hit this guy.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see, and that's what will make it so much more impressive in postseason play as well, because you're going to have to count on him. I mean, he is going to be somebody there's obviously you want everybody to play well. Obviously, you want all your players to step up and play their best. But there are a few individuals that it's like when you're out there, you have to bring it every single play, every single at-bat, every single pitch, every single time. And Matt Cronin is going to have to be that guy. When he comes in relief, it's like, we can't afford to have you come in and give up a few hits, give up a few earned runs. Like, we can't afford that. It's like when you come in, we have to count on you to get us out.
Because there's been times this season where they've tried to close it out with other bullpen guys, and they've had to bring Cronin in to finish off the game. And that happens sometimes with closers periodically, depending on who the bullpen guy is from in front of them. But you think back to last year where Blaine Knight was just the guy you counted. It's like Thursday or Friday night, depending on when the series started, it's a win. You just counted on him. And I know they lost a couple games. He had a perfect record based on what was earned during the course of the season, but you just counted on it. You counted on Carson Shaddy to come up with clutch hits, which he did all the time last year. Dude was just a hitting machine. And now these guys, you think about really the main five, it's the trio, Kerstad, Martin, and Fletch. And then the pitching-wise, it's Isaiah Campbell on Thursday or Friday night, and then you close out with Cronin. There's other guys, obviously, Goodhart as a young guy playing as well as he has this year. Ezel as the transfer has been just phenomenal. But I think those five specifically are the ones that fans expect game in, game out, their best effort. And from a pitching standpoint, it's definitely Campbell and Cronin.
Yeah, I mean, those are the guys you got to have in those pressure situations. They got to make the plays, and they're the ones that's got to make it work. So we're going to continue to react and get to all your reactions. Got a few people commenting on our Facebook Live and Periscope. We also have some people tweeting at us. And, of course, we'll take your phone calls today as well. 877-377-6963 is the number to call in here on Arkansas Baseball Tonight. More of that coming up next. Stay with us.
This is Arkansas Baseball Tonight, presented by Southern Tire Mart. Come see them today, just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith.
Hey, this is Scott from Calico County, and it's time for some springtime specials. First, it's our chicken breast salads. Fresh salad fixins, including our own croutons, topped with juicy chunks of chicken prepared the way you like it. Fried, grilled, blackened, or even buffalo style. All served with a salad dressing we make in-house as well. Or your second choice is those same chunks of chicken wrapped in a warm tortilla to make a delicious wrap. Of course, both come with one of our cinnamon rolls. So whether it be breakfast, lunch, dinner, or catering, we're Calico County, just off Rogers Avenue behind Randall Ford.
Williams, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Stigler invite you to take advantage of the Memorial Day sales event Tuesday, May 21st through Friday the 31st. All remaining new 2018 and 2019s are ready for you to choose from. There's 2018 Dodge Chargers, 2019 Dodge Durangos, and all makes of 2019 Jeeps. If you need a truck, Williams, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram has a great selection of Ram trucks. Check out the Memorial Day sales event Tuesday, May 21st through Friday the 31st at Williams, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Stigler, Oklahoma.
It's our biggest celebration ever, the 25th anniversary of Ron's Lumber and Home Center. 2 days only, Friday and Saturday, May 24th and 25th. Many items, 25% off. On Saturday, 25% off everything that fits in a 5-gallon bucket. Friday, giveaways every hour. Saturday, every half hour with hours extended until 4 p.m. You could win $2,500 in store credit and someone will win a portable building. 2 days only, Friday and Saturday, May 24th and 25th. Ron's Lumber and Home Center in Howell, Oklahoma.
At Mosquito Joe, we often hear customers say, aren't we just fighting a losing battle? We live in the woods, or we live by a pond, or we live on the river. Mosquito Joe won't be able to help me. Well, with Mosquito Joe, outside it truly is fun again. Mosquito Joe's seen properties of all shapes and sizes, and we love a challenge. We have a satisfaction guarantee, and there's no contracts. Mention that you heard us on ESPN and get your first service for $39. Call us at 479-202-9960 or visit arkansas.mosquitojoe.com.
Hello, you've reached Toyota. This is Jan. How can I help?
Hi, Jan. I was wondering why you say that your summer starts at your Toyota dealer.
Well, summer's just around the corner, right?
Yeah, it is.
And with great offers on our big selection of Toyotas now through June 3rd, you can get the reliable Toyota you need to get you to all the events that summer has to offer. Like drive up and visit your mom for Mother's Day.
Oh, son, it's so good to see you. Come here and give your mom a kiss.
Or maybe go snorkeling over Memorial Day weekend. How about see your nephew graduate from college? Or go down to the lake for 4th of July fireworks.
Wow, there's so many places to go, I just don't know which one to pick. You know what? I'm gonna do them all.
That's the spirit.
Qualified buyers can get 0% APR financing for 72 months, plus a $2,000 special edition bonus on a new 2019 Tundra Special Edition. Toyota, let's go places. Visit GSTOffers.com for details. Offers available in select states and N6319.
Tommy Kraft for the Fence Man. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from the Fence Man can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, the Fence Man can custom install any type of fencing, gates, controlled access, and card readers. Call the Fence Man for a quick, no obligations quote. 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741. 3741.
You're listening to Arkansas Baseball Tonight on ESPN 95.3.
Welcome back into Arkansas Baseball Tonight, recapping the Arkansas Razorback victory over the Ole Miss Rebels 5-3. They will advance to play tomorrow against the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm excited about that game because it'll kind of separate the men from the boys, if you will, from those two teams, because both of those teams are in the national seed talk. And I think Arkansas for sure wrapped up a national seed after today's victory against Ole Miss. I think they already had it, but this just solidifies it, confirms it.
Phil said he guaranteed that they aimed a national seed. I think almost everyone thought they did at that point, but you nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, it's done. So go ahead, folks. And here's the thing, like, at what point in time does it become too arrogant to start like booking your trips to like Omaha? Is that too arrogant?
We had someone ask us on halftime about a month ago, asking, and that's a while ago. But when you think about it, as well as they played at home, I know they've lost a few more games at home this season than they had last season. Unless they just run into like a buzzsaw, this sounds arrogant. Like you're saying,
I know, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like you're just being a cocky SOB.
And isn't that crazy based on the expectations of this team heading into this season where they were middle of the pack? Some teams had them fringe top 25. And that's why I think so many people are ticked off that Dave Van Horn didn't win SEC Coach of the Year, because Vanderbilt was preseason number 1 in a number of different polls, and his ball club was kind of middle of the pack, top 25, and yet he was able to get his team to a national seed, and Tim just kind of kept his team there. So, but it's wild to this point, John. I would not. I think that's a wasted investment because cancellation fees, you don't want to hit one of those, John. I think it might not be that much.
Yeah.
It might not be that much, but there's always a possibility that they do. Just do it right as if they end up getting there right as the win. Just get on Orbitz, get on Travelocity, whatever travel site you use, and get working, I guess.
But for the super regional in Fayetteville, that's a little bit of a different thing because
that I could see a lot more people booking.
Yeah.
I think that's a little more fair comparison.
Like, because if they lost in the regional, that would be like an epic failure of epic proportions. If they lost the regional at home to, whoever, Omaha, or whoever they were projected to play or be against.
Because you listed the seeds this morning on the Morning Rush. You said Omaha, Creighton. Who was the other projection? The other one in that?
Trying to think.
I know there's two Omaha teams.
I got to bring it up and see.
And you said the potential of Oklahoma State being matched up in the super regional for Arkansas, which again
that was a possibility. Yeah, according to this one, it was Stanford would be the one. It was Illinois State was the
Illinois State.
Yeah, it was the other one. So it's like
those are kind of cringeworthy teams.
Oh my gosh! I know we don't play the name game in baseball, because there's Stony Brooks that kind of pop up. Who would have thought that Cal State Fullerton would be somebody? But you can't really play the name game as much. But if you lost to Omaha or Illinois State or Creighton.
Yeah,
that would just be awful. But I don't think any of us believe that's going to happen. But here's the thing. What it goes back to is, as of right now, D1Baseball.com has Arkansas as the 5 seed. Guess who's the 4 seed? The Georgia Bulldogs. So it just makes me wonder. I know this isn't this is for sure what's going to happen, but it does make you wonder if the committee is going to be watching that game tomorrow between Arkansas and Georgia to decide who gets that 4 seed. If they have it this way where they're like, okay, we have to decide between these two teams. We got them both at a 4 or 5. Winner gets that 4 seed. Sounds simple. Sounds like it doesn't mean as much, but that may be a game that they're watching.
And Arkansas also was in tie. They co-shared the SEC West. They also have to look at that too. They co-shared their division with Mississippi State. Georgia lost to Vanderbilt. And I know Vanderbilt had a little better record than Arkansas, and you could say, well, you could say that, but that's the only thing that they can point to definitively, head-to-head, man-to-man, and say, this is what happened. Now, again, that could hurt you if Arkansas loses tomorrow. Then you're obviously probably going to be behind Georgia. But then on the other side of the sword, you win. NCAA Selection Committee, we beat them.
Yeah.
Put us above them. We're above on the pecking order.
Yeah. Because if Arkansas ends up beating Georgia tomorrow, and then the committee still gives Georgia the higher seed, it would feel like kind of like a slap to the face. But I know we're talking about the most minor of things, but in the grand scheme of things, the difference between a 4 seed and a 5 seed could really come into play because of if you ended up winning your regional as a 4 seed, you'd play the 13 seed regional. 5 seed, you'd play the 12 seed. So, you could have a chance where you could end up playing because who would you rather play? According to this projection on D1Baseball.com, who would you rather play? The winner of Stanford bracket, say if it's Stanford from that regional, or NC State? Personally, rather play NC State. Would be the 13 seed because Stanford, according to most outlets, is a top 5, top 10 team.
I think Phil was talking about this on Halftime with Kyle Peterson of ESPN and the SEC Network, and he was talking about Stanford's pitching, how they have some studs out there. So if you're Arkansas, you probably want to stay away from dudes that can throw cheese on the mound. In any team, it doesn't matter which one, but that's not a battle you want to get into. And NC State, we don't know much about the Wolfpack if they have dynamite pitchers or anything, but Stanford's been a pretty solid ball club all year. That's been one of the Pac-12 teams that had the potential to garner a national seed. I haven't heard that same conversation said about the NC State Wolfpack.
Hey, the Pac-12 is a joke in football. They're a joke in basketball. They are no joke in baseball. I mean, listen, I still think the SEC is the best conference by and large, but the Pac-12 is definitely worthy of being in that conversation because right now you have UCLA, who's the number one consensus by most accounts as being the number one team. You have Stanford. You have Oregon State, which is not as good as what they were last year, but they're still Oregon State, and they're still pretty dadgum good. You have other teams that have kind of been playing around a little bit, teams that like Washington, who kind of comes and goes as they please. But anyways, my point is that it's a conference that you can't just write off. Like it's made its name in winning championships out of the Pac-12. So if Arkansas ends up being matched up against Stanford, I haven't broken them down. I haven't watched a single game that Stanford has played this year.
Cards on the table. Yeah, it's not like
not going to lie. But if you're just going off of what I read the experts and what their side of it would be, I think NC State would be the right way. And we mentioned Oklahoma State and the possibility facing off against them. I think that would be good for regional purposes. It'd be a great matchup. But honestly, I still think, and I still hold this belief, that given the teams that are hovering around that spot that Arkansas could have a possibility of facing in that super regional, I think if Oregon State was paired with Arkansas in the regionals, and Oregon State wins their regional, and then you have the Beavers come to Fayetteville for the super regional, to me that would be about as electric and as emotional and passionate of a game from the fan perspective that you could possibly have.
And I think from the NCAA perspective, they'll never come out and say that they want matchups for TV, that they want matchups for just selling purposes, but that's one of them. I know Kevin Abel, who's that Game 3 guy that Arkansas saw on the mound last year and was able to defeat Arkansas. He's out with the Tommy John surgery. He was the one that pitched on short days rest, and his pitch count was up apparently several times. I was talking to Phil about it several times this season. But yeah, that matchup, and that would be Missouri State 2015, and Missouri State's been kind of your not rival, but there's been a little rivalry there.
There's been some history.
Yeah, and it's good. And I kind of like what you've seen from Dave Van Horn and Keith Gunn going back and forth, but I'd love to see Pat Casey and Dave Van Horn square off again because that would be a fun series. And there's no way, I'm going to be honest, there's no way that series ends in 2 games.
Nope.
No way. Even if Arkansas were to lose the first game, no chance that series goes anything less than 3 games.
Yeah, and I know that it wouldn't be as sweet as winning a College World Series final, but as far as the biggest victory that's not a College World Series victory, if that matched up and they were able to get the series victory against Oregon State, that would have to be, honestly, I would struggle to believe a bigger win in a bigger moment in a more hyped series in the history of Baum Stadium. I mean, I know that there's been some great games. Everyone will remember when they played Wichita State and you had Brady Toops hit the grand slam home run. People will remember that. People will remember some of the other regionals that they had some super regional moments and all of that. Like, there's been some great ones. Don't get me wrong.
LSU back in 2011 when you're on that 3-run shot.
Oh, yeah.
I'm blanking on who hit. I put the highlight up, but I just can't remember. I think it was McCann that hit it to left center.
Right. I mean, there's been great moments, and there's been great games. But if you were able to pull that off, and could you imagine what that atmosphere would be like at Baum Stadium for that Game 3?
It wouldn't be as rowdy if they
if they allowed booze. If they allowed booze there, if the NCAA was able to let people have a little fun out there in the hog pen. But
you're good with petitions. Why don't you petition the NCAA on if that happens?
That's one of the few things that I cannot take on. I don't think I can ever win in an NCAA matchup. My goodness. Most players can't even win. You think a radio host is going to be able to win? I don't know. We may be putting the cart before the horse, but it sure is looking a lot of fun if you're a Razorback baseball fan. That is for sure. Appreciate everybody listening in to Arkansas Baseball tonight. Again, we'll be doing this all postseason long, so be sure to tune in and make it happen. For Ty Richardson, I am John Neighbors. We will do this all again tomorrow after Arkansas takes on Georgia. Have a great one, everyone.